Sean's got his microphone up high, headphones way up.
Yeah, Sean, what's on, man? You're not having a great night tonight, huh? Not one of them great nights.
Los Angeles.
Hey, yo, I see you, man.
Brought to you by Shawn Porter Promotions.
Hey, yo, Shawn Porter, hold tight. We coming out there.
Live from Los Angeles.
Hey, yo, put your headphones on, man.
Time for the main.
You heard the man. Put your headphones on.
Hey, homie.
I be the one with the rollie on.
Hey, KP said stop hating on my man.
Oh, he said that?
He said KP said stop hating on Ace Boogie.
Oh, you talking to everybody else?
Yeah, no, he talking to y'all. He said tell them knuckleheads to stop hating.
Carson, don't say that.
When do we hate on him? I mean, we speak for the fans. If the fans are critiquing, we're just voicing. We're just the platform for them. But
we speak for the people.
Yeah.
Okay. Nah, yeah.
It's okay. I'll be honest. I don't. It's not bad, but I don't love it.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, I thought you said something kind of.
No, it is what it is.
Yeah,
it serves its purpose.
Yes, sir.
I would prefer Ray Cash on there, but you know what you gonna do?
Nah, you can't say trying to pimp in his own mind. No, you can't play that.
He's bumping his music though.
Okay. Hey man, what can I get a song? Carson can get Ray Cash. Don't mute me. I know.
No, I'm not gonna mute you.
Gotta watch every time
you see the head go from here to there. You say, "All right,
you about to mute me." I didn't even know I was muted till I watched last week.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Porterway Podcast. Showtime. Sean Porter, Sean Zittel, Zittel right there, drinking on his water. We got Aunt Bernard back from Zion,
fresh off of Zion.
Yeah. Carson A. Mert, that's my guy for life.
Ant was out there. He was out there in a covered wagon, and I don't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, it was wild, man.
What? A covered wagon? Like an old school?
Yeah, it looked like he was in the Oregon Trail.
Like on the Western, Sean, one of those.
Yeah.
Hey, the first night.
You rented it?
yeah, I rented it. You thought about wagon? This was wild. Hey, the first night, it got windy. It was snowing, but we made it, baby. We made it.
I stayed in that?
Yeah.
What? Oh.
Hey, we'll insert the video. I told her, I said, you got to send video to Sean.
Yeah, because you know I'm going to do it. Even if you ain't say that, I still was going to do it. Anytime you go somewhere, I'm like, let me hit her up and get some footage.
Imagine getting your stimulus check and spending it on buying a covered wagon. Like, hey man, that check just hit my account. Hey, what do you think we should get? I don't know. Cover wagon.
Hey, it's called they got tents, wagons, villas. It's called Zion Wildflower Resort in Zion. Hey man, we had it has power, so people worry. Power, and it's a king size bed with 2 bunk beds in there. So like Sean, your whole family been good.
In what?
There you go.
In the wagon. All this in the wagon. Yeah, I know. When I opened that door, I was like, dang.
Oh, the wagon move? Is it mobile?
It's like an RV.
I'm tripping now.
Yeah.
There's no like horses pulling the wagon. The wagon is stable.
Those are extra.
Yeah, the wagon is in one spot. We're gonna insert video. Yeah, Sean, the wagon's in one spot. There was a wagon next to me, probably like 50 yards, not even at 20 yards, COVID protocol, but 20 yards away. I don't think that was COVID, but yeah, it was a whole resort, man.
Yeah, they were out.
Hey, man, y'all should go check it out, man.
So,
hey, if you want to go there, hit us up in the comments. Sean Porter will sponsor your family of 10.
Better him than me.
Porter, not Zittel.
Hey, okay.
Yeah.
No, hey, we're not
specify with Sean.
Hey, we're not sponsored, but you guys go there.
But you got to have a family of 10, because who really
hit out there? hey, that's true. If you gotta be a family of 10.
I was not on it. I was like, well,
family of 10.
Ant was out there in the snow. We were heated up by some boxing last night. It was a busy night.
Yeah. I got a chance to, put on the phone.
Keep having these double fight cards, man. I'm not a fan. The timing wasn't horrible on the one yesterday, but
yeah, every time it happens, I'm like, why does boxing do this to us? Hey, listen, before we get into last night, I want to do this real quick so that everybody knows Ring City USA is coming back Thursday night this coming week. We're down there in Puerto Rico again. We got a great lineup for y'all. I want to give everybody the card real quick so they know how to tune in. We will start off on twitch.tv. You go to twitch.tv and you just type in Ring City USA and it'll come up. We're live, twitch.tv. First fight, Edwin Valentin, who is 9-0 with 8 KOs against Hector Marenga, 7-14 with 4 KOs. That's an upside down record. We got Angel Acosta, 21-2, 21 KOs. He's from Puerto Rico. Gilberto Mendoza, 17-9, 8 KOs. He's from the States. Then we have a main event on twitch.tv. Maricela Cornejo, 13-4 with 5 KOs against Alma Alvarez, 7-1 with 4 KOs. That's from Mexico. So that's pretty much that's the warm up, and then we go live on NBCSN. I don't think that everybody knows where to find the fights right now. NBCSN.
That is for NBC Sports Network.
There you go.
Thinking Fernando Vargas Jr. down there in Puerto Rico about a week or two ago.
Yeah, let me finish it, and then we'll talk. Let's rap about Fernando real quick. Let me finish up. Joe Ward 2-1 against Marco Delgado. Jose Martinez 21-1 versus Israel Gonzalez 25-4, and then the main event, which is the fight that I don't want anybody to miss, Alberto Machado, who's 22-2 with 18 KOs against Angel Fierro, 17-1 with 13 KOs. And here's the thing. I know right now one thing that's working against Ring City USA is the fact that people aren't familiar with the names of these guys that are fighting. But I said it last week, and I'm going to say this again as well. I work for NBC, and essentially I work for Ring City USA because they're the ones doing the promotions on NBC, but nobody says, hey, make sure you promote our fight. Nobody has ever told me, make sure you say this or say that, get people to watch. I'm doing this all on my own because I'm seeing what I hoped was what I would see way back in August when we first started talking to NBC. They're putting on some exciting fights, and it's really everything to pack it all in, everything is going according to plan. They're putting on exciting fights. These matchups and these styles that these guys are coming to the ring with have made some exciting nights on NBCSN. So I don't want anybody to miss it. You got the pregame on twitch.tv. Sorry, I don't have the time. But then you also have the after game back on twitch.tv. So when you're done with NBCSN, you can come back to twitch.tv and check us out talking about the fights and the night and all that kind of stuff. Don't miss these fights, and specifically don't miss Machado versus Fierro, because those two dudes are some bangers. I didn't know nothing about them. I wasn't excited to watch film on them, but I got to watch it to get ready. And I'm like, yo, this is going to be a banger. I said, yo, I don't want anybody to miss this. So make sure y'all tune in, catch the fights, NBCSN this Thursday night. And then let's move forward real quick.
Oh, NBCSN.
Yes, sir.
For DirecTV providers. Channel 220, Dish Network 159. You can also download the app.
Bingo.
NBCSN Sports. And watch all live events.
Yeah.
Just to get the numbers up.
I got my guy back. I got your back, my man. You know.
Hey, did you happen to see his fight, Sean?
No, that's why I wanted to. I saw, a couple posts on his IG page, but not the full fight. So I was wondering what you thought, because
I'm very excited for him, and I'm excited for his dad. Fernando Jr., he's got a really good head on his shoulders. He started late in the game, but very athletic. One thing I didn't know about him that I found out when I was down there, I think last week, is that he played AAU basketball.
Oh, he nice.
And that was like, yo, listen, my son was the only Mexican on an all-black team. My son's an athlete, so I knew what he could do in the boxing ring if he developed himself. And so I was like, whoa, well, why didn't you follow basketball? He said, man, I just have a strong love for boxing, and basketball just really, you know, it kind of ran its course, but boxing is what I want to do. I'm like, boom, there it is. And a lot like me, his dad didn't physically or mentally say, hey, this is something you need to do. This is something you got to do. His dad never got in his face or anything like that at all. He just decided to take that route on his own. And same thing with me. And I think when you have a heart to do something, I think that adds to it, opposed to if you feel pressured to do it or if you feel there's an expectation to do it. Right now, he is 2-0, 2 KOs. And as you would expect, Sean, I don't remember I think the guy he fought might have been 1-2, but he's not in the ring with a killer or anything like that. Nobody was going to take his head off. But like I talked to him after the fight. I said, hey, man, I saw what I wanted to see out of you tonight. He felt like he was wild. I said, hey, you weren't wild. I said, you just got to keep going. And the more you get into pro fights, the more comfortable you'll feel. I said, right now, you just feel there's a little bit of anxiety and things like that going on. So after the fact, when it's all over, you're feeling like you could have done so much better. I said, but man, I could see that you were thinking in the ring, and I could see that you were listening to your dad in the ring. Your combinations and your punches, they look crisp, a lot crisper than you thought. I said, so don't be too hard on yourself. But to keep it plain and simple, it was a 1-round fight. No. I think it was a 2-round fight. 2-round fight, and the dude he was fighting had a little bit of resistance, but Fernando was able to navigate play.
It went 1 or 2 rounds, or it was scheduled for 1 or 2 rounds.
No. We don't schedule fights for 2 rounds.
That's what I was like. I was like, hey, if they're scheduling 1-round fights, that is intense. Like, hey, good luck.
Yeah, I can. Yeah,
handle your business quickly
to make this happen.
Yeah, good luck.
So yeah, man, I just want everybody out there tune in.
No doubt.
I'm specifically excited for Twitch TV, Twitch.tv, because it gives me an opportunity, gives us opportunity. I've always watched a lot of other sports, and I've always saw other sports have, after game shows and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of gave me that feeling the other week when we did it. We're standing up right there in front of the cameras, just talking boxing, and it gave me that, post game type of feeling. So I want everybody to tune into that, because I think that's going to get as well. Back down to Puerto Rico this week coming.
Yeah.
Let's move on to last night, man. Last night was tight. No. Oh, you know what though? I did.
Before we get to last night.
Yeah, go ahead.
Y'all want to honor the great?
Oh no, we'll do it at the end.
Okay, I got you.
We'll do it at the end. Yeah.
He was definitely honored last night. Well, but yeah, we'll
get
to that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So I mean, this is your showtime. Do we start on Showtime?
Let's do it. Let's start with Showtime.
Terrell Gausha holding it down for Cleveland.
Yeah.
Quick work of Jamontay Clark.
Jamontay Clark, he can't really take a punch. I hope that doesn't sound too bad, but
yeah, you just threw it out there. Okay.
No, yeah, I mean he's got it all. It's just kind of I think the missing link for him is being able to stand up. When guys touch him. Great counter left it was from Terrell Gausha. But at the same time, hey, Carson, how you say his name? Gausha or Gausha? Gausha, yeah. I know, dude, half my life.
And the best is you mix it up. You'll say like Gausha, then you're like Gausha. But no, he held it down. It was an all-Ohio matchup.
I thought that was exactly what Terrell needed.
Yeah.
At this point in his career, I think guys, we've talked about this on the podcast. You take a loss or you take a draw and people are writing you off and things like that. He's taken a couple of losses and also has had a draw recently. And so, he's at that point now where even putting him in against Jamontay Clark, a younger guy, it's like, hey, can you make it over this threshold? And if not, this is where we're going to keep you, So he not only made it over that threshold, but he did it in spectacular form. Yeah. And I think he brought more life to his career moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those are the performances that can always do that. If you have a spectacular knockout or just, great performance, it can kind of vault you up. And then the next fight was
Oh, what did you think about the stoppage? I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I thought it was a good stoppage.
Well, don't cut him off then.
Yeah, I thought it was a good. No, I thought it was a good stoppage.
At first, I thought it was premature. Looked at the replay, I was like, no, the ref made the right decision.
Yeah.
A lot of times, guys, even though they get up, they beat the count and all that, the ref is right there. He knows if that guy is truly there or not. You know, so
I always err on that. We've mentioned, but I always err on that side. I understand it's kind of anti-boxing fan, but I would prefer an early stoppage than a late one. Yeah. But was Isak Cruz the next fight on there?
Yeah.
That was an interesting fight, man. I didn't know
what's his name. Isak Cruz.
Isak Cruz and Matias Romero.
That's his real name.
Mm-hmm.
It spelled like Isaac, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's built like a fire hydrant, Isak Cruz, or Geodude for any Pokemon fans. He looks like his whole body is muscle. Like I feel like his head is muscle. Like he's got big, like he's just yoked up. And
that was my first time seeing him too.
I think that was at least the second time because I saw him stop Magdaleno last year. But I didn't know how they were going to score that fight. I was actually very curious when the scorecards were going to come back because Romero was clearly fighting more from the outside. He threw more punches from the outside. And Cruz, especially early, seemed to be forcing it a little bit where he was just kind of trying to bull rush in and then try to land one of those big shots, and he really couldn't. He had some low blows. He had some holding. It was kind of an odd fight overall, but Cruz got the win.
I was surprised to see Romero's resistance and how strong he was able to hold up because Cruz was going on strong. And guys who throw those winging overhands and those big hooks like the way Cruz was last night, I'm cringing like, oh, don't get hit by that one, you know?
Yeah.
But he stood up and delivered his own.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was some wondering if he could
John, take your coat off. You at home, right?
Stay a while.
Are you cold?
No, I just thought I don't know.
Got a stain on your shirt. Put your coat back on.
No,
see, that's why I was on, Sean. You gotta trust me on these things.
Shut the heck up, Sean.
I thought it was like the George Costanza, like the Gore-Tex coat, but
hey, Sean, worst kind of worst, man. Turn your shirt inside out, baby.
Yeah,
that's all you need to do.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sean. Continue what you were saying, though.
Brushing my teeth before the show, things can.
Yeah, it happens.
Things can happen, Sean.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a family. You got babies, man.
Yeah, I got babies.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
That's all it is baby throw up. I've been there.
Oh, yeah. Me and Carson don't know what that's. I might drop that baby.
I've seen some things. That baby.
But... I might drop a baby. You throw up on me.
Go ahead, Sean. My bad.
No. Just that there was some wondering, heading into that fight if Esau Cruz could be like an X factor in the lightweight division. Maybe sneak up on a Tiafimo or a Devin Haney. I know he's a mandatory for one of them right now, but from what Romero was able to do to him last night, I think it shows that he's a huge underdog against someone like Haney or Lopez. But he would fill in as an in between fight from one of those guys really nicely, like Tiafimo's having with Kambosos.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely got a good perspective of where Cruz really stands in the division. I think we learned maybe he's not really a true threat to the top guys, but he'd be a good in between fight while they're staying busy.
Yeah, and he's gonna be action too, so it's not like he's one of those guys that's gonna be a boring fight, even if it's one-sided to an extent. It's still
my call back on.
Yeah, that's a good call. But at least it's gonna be action. But and then so my main takeaway from the main event, and you guys correct me if I'm speaking out of turn here. So I thought the commentary was very unfair to Ronald Ellis.
How so?
I thought obviously David Benavidez is the guy you're promoting. I completely understand that. That's sports in general. But Ellis would do like some nice things in there. He didn't have a bad fight yesterday. Like it was David Benavidez controlled the fight as we expected, but Ellis would land like 3 punches and Benavidez would land 1, and they would comment on Benavidez and completely ghost past Ellis. And I was like, Okay.
I think that's a part of the psychology when you go into these fights, which is the same problem that a lot of these judges have. And I'm just gonna speak on it. And I've said this to you guys before, at least I think I have, where leading into a fight, especially a major fight, judges should not be watching fights of the guys that they're going to be judging, because what you see in those fights that you may watch prior to the fight will get your mind conditioned to what you expect to see in the fight. So the same thing with last night. You expect Ronald Ellis to be there in the beginning of the fight, but you expect as the fight to continue for him to fade away and for it to become more David Benavidez. This is what we expect.
Yeah.
It didn't really happen that way. However,
he was tough.
I thought that the commentary started to go in the way that they thought the fight was supposed to go. And so I think that, that's just a part of the psychology that comes along with boxing.
And it's not to say that David Benavidez didn't have a great fight, and it's not to say that Ronald Ellis was winning the fight or even anything to that extent. I just felt like you're allowed to, and also from my perspective, if you don't hype up Ellis or give him his credit, it almost takes away some credit from Benavidez. Because if you're not highlighting anything that Ellis is doing, it's just like Benavidez in there with some bum and he's smoking him. But if you're like, oh, Ellis, he's doing this, it's not saying, oh, Benavidez got hit with a few shots, he's terrible. It's just, it's a fight and it happens. But
yeah, Carson, he got hit with some big shots too.
Yeah, he's there to get hit.
Yeah, Ellis
there to get hit a little
bit. Yeah, that's that kind of.
Yeah, and I thought Ellis, I thought he was all right.
Rounds especially, he was really. Those last 2-3 rounds, you could almost argue that didn't need to go on.
Yeah.
He did.
And Benavidez, that dude, he throws some combinations, man. And it was a great performance. It was a David Benavidez performance. It was probably not as dominant as a lot of people expect, but I think Ronald Ellis was a major part of that. Obviously, takes two to tango, but yeah, Benavidez, man, when he sits there and fires off some of those, 4 or 5 punch combos, you're like, damn.
Man, that 11th round, I wanted to stop 30 seconds before that. I'm like, come on, man. He's not going to win.
Yeah.
How about the corner?
45 punches landed to 0.
I seen that at the end.
Never seen that.
Yeah. How about his corner that said, Ellis's that said, I'm giving you one more round? And then was like, keep on going. It's one of those things you don't
He said, how'd I do? I did good better, right?
Yeah, and he was like,
no, man, get the hell out of here.
I thought it was gonna be funny if he just admitted that he lied the round before. If he was like, I was just bull jiving you. No, you're good. Go ahead and keep it rolling. But no, it was an interesting fight. It was a good fight. Nice action.
Still looked better than ever. Although I thought he looked great. But one thing though, he did look a little skinny at 168 pounds. He was so determined to make the weight and prove a point to everybody for all the shit, everybody talks a lot. Some of it deserved for losing his title on the scales. So as great as he looked a little thin to me. And I do think David's, if he's not already, he's becoming a light heavyweight who's boiling down to 168 pounds. And I think kind of like Canelo when he moved up from 54 to 60 and 68, I think he's going to go to maybe even another level when he moves up at 75. He's already the mandatory for Arthur Beterbiev. So, the best fights for him at 68 money-wise with Caleb and Canelo, but I do want to tell him, if you can't make the weight and be 100% David Benavidez, you might want to consider just cashing in your title shot at 75 where you'll be comfortable. Right. But that said, his defense and his reflexes look better than ever last night. He's always been an offensive juggernaut. He's up there, the top 2, 3, 4, 5 offensive fighters in the game. Like you mentioned it, Carson, like his combinations. And it's rare to have a guy shoot off combinations with real speed and power, at an elite level in both areas. So he might be my favorite fighter to watch in boxing. Now, don't get me wrong. If David's losing a round, I'm going to call the round 10-9 for the other guy. So I don't want the fans to get it mixed up.
Sure.
But like me, the boxing fan and not the journalist, he might be my favorite fighter right now because he looks like he might become that rare fighter. Marvin Hagler was one of them, rest in peace to Marvelous Marvin, who's truly one of the crowd-pleasing fighters in boxing while also being one of the elite fighters in boxing. And Shawn's been there too, and that's rare. So I think
Hey, Sean, Sean, go ahead.
I was gonna say,
I think he's the best fight for Canelo. I think him and Canelo is the best fight for the fans in boxing that Canelo can make. Although I get it, he shot himself in the foot by getting stripped of the title. But it says a lot about David Benavidez that the minute he got stripped, Canelo said, "I want to be undisputed." So David's a bad boy.
SP, going to the weight real quick. So I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I think David said that he made weight or was on weight 4 days ahead of the weigh-in.
He was, Carson. I seen on Instagram.
What do you think about that, Sean? Is that too early to be right on weight?
Well, you got to consider with the times with the epidemic, and you can't really work out like that.
I'm heavy set, so I'm not the one to ask you. But SP, is it something? Was it too early to be right there?
It all depends on the fighter and how that protocol goes. Kind of going back to my fight with Ugas, I was about a pound over or a pound and a half or something like that over. And after I made weight the second time, all the cameras in front of my face, I said, "Hey, I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's never going to happen again." What happened was I did not follow my protocols the way I should have, and I started some things a little late, and I didn't get it all off in time. I made weight. It's all over. If a guy knows how to manage his weight up all the way up until you can be a pound overweight going to sleep the night before the weigh-in and wake up on weight. It all depends on what your protocols are. And I don't know if these guys know these tricks and things like that, but I go to sleep the night before weigh-in with the heat on. I cover up. I wake up and I'm a pound and a half underweight. You know what I mean? And I'm eating before the weigh-in. You know, it all depends. When you got a guy like Benavidez who's missed weight, I think now twice, right? Mm-hmm. And now the pressure's on him. You know, now he's seeing that everybody is questioning whether or not he can make weight, you know? And so his pride is telling him, his pride is like, yo, I'm going to do it now so that everybody can just shut up about it. So 4 days before the weigh-in, he's posting that he's on weight. That was his pride telling him, like, do it and show everybody that I'm good, you know? It wasn't necessary, but when you see a guy who is on weight maybe 4 days before the fight or so, now he's eating the minimum so that he doesn't go any higher. He's eating the minimum, and now the body is starting to eat at itself. And now you see a guy who looks a little thinner in the ring than he did previously. It could be because he cut weight and got there too soon, and now his body starts to kind of eat at his muscle and things like that in order to survive. I guarantee you, when he hit 168, if that was 4 days before the fight, he's like, I'm not doing nothing else. I don't want to train anymore. I don't want to eat because I don't want to work to get it off. So this is where I'm going to be. And his body, I forget the term, but his body might have done a little bit of that to adjust to the new weight that he was at.
Do you guys agree with Sean that the Benavidez is the best fight for Canelo? Because I actually disagree. I actually think it's Caleb.
I agree. I've been a big.
Me agree with Sean.
I agree with Sean Zittel from Fight Hype.
I think the style that can give Canelo problems is not Benavidez, because Benavidez is going to walk you down. He's going to throw combinations. He's slick defensively, but not like, I don't think he's on Caleb's level defensively. I think if Caleb movement wise could give him trouble, or Benavidez I don't think could.
I think that Benavidez will be in trouble against Canelo. I don't know if he has learned enough in the ring to be able to defend everything that Canelo is gonna bring, because Canelo's bringing it all offensively and defensively, you know. So I feel the same way you do, Carson. I feel that a guy who can move, a guy who can be defensive, make Canelo miss, and get Canelo to what we call open up, start to drop his hands. Maybe it's because his frustration, or maybe it's because, you know, he's just talking to himself, anything like that. Anything, when you get a guy to get outside of themselves, then you may have a chance to capitalize. And so I feel the same way you do, Carson. I know a lot of people, including my dad, don't feel that way. I think my dad would bet that Benavidez is a better fight for Canelo than
Hey, Sean, quick. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
my bad.
Because I forgot his name.
No, I'm saying, but you know, we've seen this with the BS of boxing last night with the judges. Caleb can't really be his slick on the back foot, come get me type deal that night. He might have to go get him and take it. Otherwise, he may lose the fight. You see what I'm saying? He will have to get up in there and get in the fire. That's what I feel. Yeah. I feel like, when with your fights, I feel like sometimes you got to get in and get in the fire. Otherwise, you're already the judges already feel like you don't.
Can you beat Canelo like that though?
But can you beat Canelo? Can you just jab?
I thought Lara beat Canelo, but
I know this is I'm just saying.
Going back to what I said when we started the show in terms of the psychology of when you watch fights, because
he's the Floyd Mayweather of boxing now. He wasn't on that level back then.
True, very, very true. I think that movement from Caleb gives him more trouble than Benavidez's offense. And one thing to mention about Benavidez, which I think is somehow overlooked, we give this new generation like Teofimo and all these guys absolutely their credit when it's needed. You realize how old David Benavidez is?
24.
He's 1 year older than Teofimo.
I think people, Carson, people probably really think he's like 28, 30.
Because he was a title holder so young. And then even since then, he's obviously lost his title a couple ways outside of the ring. But I was sitting there yesterday, I was like, that's crazy.
Same thing with Canelo. Canelo's not a lot younger than he seems.
Yeah.
Because he's been on top for so long.
Yeah. I just don't know if you can beat Benavidez is so good offensively. I just don't know. I don't know if that's how you can beat Canelo. I don't think you can sit there and throw with that guy because I think Canelo is better than Benavidez defensively and offensively. I think defensively, Caleb and Canelo can kind of be, right there with each other, but I don't know.
I feel like Caleb hasn't fought the right opposition to just go fight a Canelo right now.
And you might not
I think him and Benavidez need to fight, and the winner gets Canelo.
I do not disagree.
That's how I feel it should go.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with that.
I think Caleb's just going to sit back and wait for Canelo. And what if Canelo does him like Floyd did Amir Khan? Then what happens? Then what happens?
Him and David Benavidez, right?
You got to fight him.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, Carson, like you mentioned, a lot of people thought Lara beat Canelo. I think where Caleb would have to look at that tape, and we're talking about would the judges give it to him, I think you got to fight the best fight you can fight possible and let the judges play out however they're going to play out. But, he's got to look at where Lara maybe should have stepped on the gas and threw an extra combination here or there. He decided to keep his movement going. That's where Plant has to learn from Lara is he has to win some of these rounds with conviction and push his foot on the pedal where Lara was a little safety first that time. So
how do you think we mentioned Plant and Benavidez and they both fight not too far apart from each other and both obviously get wins? Not impressive show out dominant performances from either of them in my opinion.
Not fighting the best opposition either.
That I think makes it even worse.
I'll give Benavidez the edge over Caleb because, when you get the guy out of there, you always get some extra points for that. Them not looking I think Caleb actually, you talked about, or what was it? Ant said he doesn't know if he's faced the best opposition in getting ready for Canelo. He probably onto something there because I saw Caleb not regress his last fight, but look flat. Like against Feigenbutz, Mike Lee, Uzcategui, he was on fire, clicking on all cylinders. Then this is his second or third fight in a row now against what we would call lower opposition. And it's like, not quite regressed, but flat, and
no excuses, but we do have to remind ourselves that he hurt his hand relatively early in that fight against Caleb Truex. And I know that to be true because I've seen him. And I know that, his hand was hurt. That always changes the game plan. It always changes your the way you fight. And, you basically have to kind of adjust to the situation and maybe even make it through, and again, it's funny how we're saying that he made it through, even though he won 12 rounds consecutively. And we're talking about he made it through, I think if anything, we had the expectation that he could take care of Caleb Truex, if not early or the middle or the late half of the fight. And then when that didn't happen, we're all like, But I don't think it was a terrible performance. I think it was more of
I don't think either was bad.
No, I still think that's the two baddest boys outside of Canelo. Yeah. Along with Canelo.
I think we all feel like these guys are not on their level.
Yeah.
all of their opponents.
Like, oh yeah.
On Benavidez
they fought.
Yeah,
I would
like
agree.
Caleb and Plant and Benavidez just.
I thought both were good performances, potentially special, great performance. I just don't think they were like elite. Like, whoa, man, that was a statement.
Like what Tank did to Santa Cruz, something.
Like
why you didn't even bring that back up, man?
It just wasn't something that really caught our eye. But no, I think there's some fights to be made up there.
They're both here and fighting each other would win the winner. That pushed them over the top as this clear number one, top guy to fight Canelo. But you know, not how boxing's working. So
what about the Charlo? He got to throw him in there because him and Caleb was bumping heads, bumping gums right now.
Yeah, Benavidez also called him out. Charlo,
not Caleb.
You Benavidez,
yeah. I love Charlo, but at 30 years old, I would have liked to have seen him face better competition at this point. I really do love Charlo. He's such a good fighter. I don't think he'll have a lot of problems moving up to 68. He's a big guy, so I'm just saying it's time to stop talking and to fight the best. Yeah.
It's that point in career. Like I think Benavidez said, like, I'm 24. You guys are 30, 28, 30 years old. Yeah. You guys got to go. Yeah. I don't. I'm still going to be here for a minute.
Well, then let's throw a wrench in it because...
Okay, you're going to 168.
No.
Order Canelo.
Benavidez has called out Jermall Charlo. Is that a fight that you want to see?
Hell yeah.
Or less than a fight with Caleb Plant?
Plant number one.
I want that fight. Caleb, yeah. That's big. That's a big fight, man.
Either. Like they're both at the same level for me.
I wouldn't say the same level. I would absolutely take either of them, but I would have Plant somewhat comfortably ahead of the Charlo fight.
That fight does
it doesn't matter to me.
That fight does number pay-per-view and the stadium sales.
The build-up will be great too because they've been talking trash to each other for years.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the most personal fight in boxing right now, probably.
Yeah, it could be.
Benavidez versus Caleb Plant that I could think of.
Yeah, but a Charlo fight is great, whether it's not Canelo. I mean, whether it's Caleb and Charlo or Benavidez and Charlo, I'm down for we talk about those lower weights where you can just kind of throw the guys up there. Canelo, Charlo, Benavidez, Plant, just kind of throw those guys, make the matchups. I'm fine with them.
Can make a move to 68, right? Love to see him in there too, but.
Man, would I? Come on, man. Don't get me going, man.
Sean, I worry that in 5 years we look back and
man, I'm getting him on the podcast next week. All right. Come on. Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like
he ghosted us before.
Yeah, I'm getting him on the podcast.
I'm talking about everybody ghosted him. Like, he never gets a big one. Like, they really he really gets his shut out. How? How is that possible that he can't get a big fight? Like, how is that possible?
I think people don't know enough of him. So that,
and style-wise, it's not like...
Oh, no. The boxers, they don't want to deal with the style.
Yeah. I'm saying even from like a fan perspective, like it's not you're not like, oh man, I can't wait to see him fight.
Yeah.
As a boxing purist, you like his skill, but
you know what? Because as a boxing purist, you love the skill, but the style, the way he uses his skill, it's like you really can't like name anybody else who fights the way Andrade fights. And I think that a lot of fighters looking at that and they're like, I just don't want to deal with that. Yeah. I did it.
Sean,
I did not want to deal with that.
Sean, he's got Liam Williams next.
Yeah.
But
you can't give him no advice because you kind of got the same issue. Like, I don't want to fucking fight Shawn Porter. Like, I know people saying that.
Yeah, but Sean's an action fighter. So people want Shawn to fight. Like, when Shawn and Bud go back and forth, people are like, hell yeah, I want to see Shawn Porter. He always brings it. Boo-boo, not. They're like, okay.
But for a minute, there was just like, oh, he's a football player. All he does is headbutt.
Yeah.
He had to flip it on. He had to flip people to get him to really.
True.
Yeah. Because a lot of people didn't want to see him.
I think more people have bought in than not now to this point, but. I wanted to ask Shawn a question, and I'm going to ask it, but I still think that there's another level for me to get to, but I got to be in the ring with greatness to get there. Shawn, you said that you thought that if Benavidez moved up to like heavyweight, you could see him going to another level. Like, what changes with him going up to light heavyweight.
Hey, Sean, one thing they put in the chat, the producers, he's planning on staying at 168 for another 3 more years. He said after the fight. But yeah, just want to throw it out there.
Well, hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically.
And that's great mentality for David to have because he really wants to stay at 68. So, there's no way he'll get Canelo or Caleb at 75 or Charlo. So
no.
He's having the right mind state in terms of I'm committed, I want to stay at 68. But just from what I'm seeing, he just looked thin to me. And it looked like, this kid could really use a move up to 75. I think of fighters early in their careers who were making weights that they really weren't destined for. Canelo at 54, De La Hoya at 35, and guys like that. And you could just see their frame when they moved up in weight. It just did a lot for them. Yeah. And so I just think of Canelo, that jump Canelo made when he moved up from 54, fighting guys like Liam Smith and Miguel Cotto. And then all of a sudden he moved up to 60 for those 2 Golovkin fights. And you could just see his body, round out into a better shape, and his stamina got better. Although David's been throwing 70 punches around, but I just think the word is, he's going to blossom at 175, and he's going to be even better than he was. The David Benavidez, when we look back 10 years from now and fans are looking at his career, they're going to be like, his real prime came when he moved up kind of to 75. That's just how I'm starting to see it for him.
I got you.
So
yeah. I don't think I disagree.
Yeah, he can make 175 hot because it's kind of boring.
I think he could beat Arthur Beterbiev. Maybe even in his first fight there, because, as strong as Beterbiev is, coming forward into the buzzsaw that David has offensively, I think he could win that fight. But if you ask him about that fight, he makes me pump the brakes on it. He's like, hold on. Arthur Beterbiev is freakishly strong. He's like caveman strong. So
yeah,
don't throw me in the ring with him just yet, but
give me some damn time.
But my point with him in 75 is, if with how personal the Caleb Plant fight is, don't take that fight if you feel like you're losing 5 to 10% of yourself, cutting down that last 10 pounds or whatever it is at weight, because you don't want to lose that fight and then have excuses afterwards, even if they're legitimate. So I don't know. I just think it's worth some consideration to him. If I can't make 68, as big as those fights are, hey, I'm already the #1 contender to the lineal unified champ of 75. It's worth a thought.
Yeah.
So let's move on into DAZN.
And there's only one fight we need to talk about, and you already knew it was gonna deliver, and you doubted.
All right, we'll leave everybody else behind.
Hey,
let's move on.
What I say last week?
Hey, Carson, I doubted so much. I was back at my little wagon.
Yeah,
I said DAZN or Showtime. Man, I'm going Showtime.
That's crazy. SP said, "Hey, don't let him disappoint you," and he damn sure didn't disappoint.
I came home, man. I see some tape.
Chocolatito and Estrada.
I effed up.
Hey, let's start with Sean, and then we'll go to Carson. Sean, what'd you think about the fight? Chocolatito.
Well, it was such a great fight that, like, the casual buddy of mine I had on who doesn't love boxing like that.
Yeah.
Like, this is the best fight you've ever had me over for, man. We gotta. He's all drunk. He's like, I love you, man. You got to have me over for more fights. And then the decision comes. And he's like, what the fuck, man? They robbed Chocolatito. And he's like, this is why I don't watch boxing all the time.
Now he ain't coming over.
Right.
He gonna sober up and say, I ain't going over there no more.
There you go. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, but it's boxing. Like it didn't faze me. I'm just like, it was a great fight. But about the fight itself, like, we're so used to it
that's crazy.
That's what I said. Crazy that we're so used to it that we're just numb to it now, and we're like, oh well, we know who won. Let's move.
We know the real winner.
Let's move on, right? Maybe.
But the whole world ain't like us, and we can't allow these judges to continue to do that, because the whole world doesn't come where we come from, where we like, yeah, we understand it. They don't.
We're like abused guys. Like, oh, that's Henry. He messes with other girls on the side. I don't pay that anymore.
I didn't personally see. So I thought Chocolatito won by probably 2-3 rounds. I wasn't like disgusted at Estrada getting the close call, 115-113. Personally, Sean, Sean can correct me. I don't think I saw or heard of anyone saying Estrada won. I saw a lot of people saying I'm not mad that he won, but I don't think anyone was like, "Oh yeah, Estrada won that fight."
Well, Carson, you look at Twitter for both of us. So.
He said it was a draw. Estrada, he thought it was a draw.
That tells you everything you need to know. And right before the decision, he, not to play psychologist, but it seemed obvious. He looked like the expression of "I fell short again." I fell short. He looked like he knew he lost a good fight close to this.
I can't think of a fighter that after a fight won the fight and thought they didn't win the fight. Can any of you tell me one that's happened? Like he literally won and was like, "Yeah, I thought it was a draw."
I know it happened. I just can't remember.
Like that's just wild to me. But that Chocolatito is so good. And I mean, honestly, Estrada was great too. Like that was one of those fights where both of them had A+ performances at worst, and
4,000 punches through the fight.
2,500.
Oh, 2,500. I gave them both. I gave them both 2,000.
I like it. No, I like it.
2,500 between the two of them.
Yeah, but that was such a fun fight to watch, and I think
that's not possible. Then if they didn't do it, then
if they didn't do it, nobody can do it.
Yeah, if they didn't do it. They can't do it.
And Chocolatito, the way he could just stand there in the fire and just sit there and get off his little angles and just fire shots. I'm like, oh man, I texted Sean. I was like, I love this dude, man. I love Chocolatito.
Carson said Chocolatito is the number one boxer he'd love to meet. Yeah. I said like, I read him like, all right, cool. So how much can you communicate with him if you did meet him? Carson's like, I can't really communicate much, but I'd hug him. And I think he'd love that.
Yeah, I think you'd appreciate it because it's so funny.
So soft and like
like you go to the weigh-in and he has this big smile on his face and like he goes over to doing the interview and he like shakes his hand. He's got this big smile. He's so like happy and seems very nice. And then he gets in the ring and he's like, yeah, 12 rounds. I'm going to be in front of you firing the whole time. But yeah, the 117-111 was an embarrassment, is an embarrassment. Glad the guy suspended.
That's tough. That's the tough part about that is when you have such a great fight, it's like then there's a pin put into
and it keeps happening, which we've mentioned. Like it keeps happening. Like that scorecard was so bad. It was so bad. And to at least when the WBA suspends him and they want to kind of research a little bit. I at least want him to have to answer to that, whether it's publicly or privately. I want them to say, "Hey, what the hell did you see?
Yeah,
tell me what you saw that got you to that point." Because at least then he can be like, "Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to the fight. I was texting and made up a score." Like
I something. It was incompetence and not corruption this time.
I would agree.
So many punches flying. I think he just saw one guy, like just so many shots flying that it was hard for him to make out what's going on. Which maybe he thought
Chocolatito was Estrada for the first few rounds, and then was like, "Oh, damn," and then got confused again.
I've done that before
because he had Estrada winning the first 3 rounds and the last 5.
The last 5, wow.
And Estrada was wobbled in the 12th, like it was.
So wait, he didn't have Estrada winning the 6th and So from 8 to 12, he has Estrada winning. So he didn't have Estrada winning the 7th, which might have been his best round.
Yeah, I gotta see if I gotta check and see if I can find it. But yeah,
he sounded like he might have got confused, like Sean said.
No, that's happened to me. Wait. I'm not a judge, so it doesn't matter. I was like, oh, hold up, that's that guy. That can happen.
So
you're not a judge. You're good.
I know.
So it was Carlos Sucre.
I told you they have a tough job. They have a tough job.
He had Estrada winning 8 through 12. He had Chocolatito winning 7 and had Estrada winning 6.
There's no way he could have him winning 7 when he won the set. I remember that clearly. The 6th and the 7th were 2 of Estrada's best rounds. And then from like 8 to 10, Chocolatito slowed it down a little bit and slowed it down for them.
Right, yeah, by his level.
Yeah, and then he outboxed them. Yeah. And then the last 2, they go back to war. But that's a really suspect card because the 7th round was kind of clearly Estrada's round. And then the 3 rounds after that were kind of clearly for Roman Gonzalez. So yeah,
that doesn't need to be made public. If he mistook Estrada,
I think it does. Though. I think it does need to go public because then you can say, okay, he was not unprofessional, but made a professional mistake. It was embarrassing, whatever. Because then if it's not, was it corruption? Right. Was it he thought so and so did this, and this? At least then you can be like, all right, it was a bonehead play of the day.
To be a little better, you might say, are they trying to make a third fight? A casual fan would be like,
that's what I was thinking.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. But you can't take the belt from Estrada. You can't overturn the decision alone. And then again, it's that judge, but it also does. It's a reflection of the Texas State Athletic Commission. So at the sake of protecting him, to protect boxing, you don't make it public. You just say, hey, he made a mistake.
I see where you're coming from. I see where Carson coming from too. Like, you need to hold. You want to make this decision?
Yeah.
You F this up? You need to step up and accept it.
Yeah.
Because it's in any sport, but in any sport you have to answer for stuff. If we're playing basketball and Chris Webber calls that timeout, you don't think Chris Webber had to answer about calling the timeout and costing them the game? Absolutely. As a judge, you messed up. Sit in front of a microphone and say, hey, I thought this happened. And then somebody can say, oh, well, if you thought this, why'd you do this? And then you have to talk through your process. You can't just throw the scorecard and then just be gone and nobody presses you on it.
Well,
Sean, one of your fights, a judge had you losing 117-111.
My fight, my fight with Ugas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like
See how that's how he feels right now.
I ain't come looking for nobody,
Yeah,
but it's probably because I got my hand raised, But
yeah, and again, it was such a great fight, and I think Estrada is a worthy fighter, and I don't hate that he got the decision, but it's just that wide scorecard. I just think you have to sit there and ask people and say, hey, I'm an idiot. Sorry.
So being suspended, what does the judge get? Like
probably nothing.
You don't get paid. They hold your pay.
I don't think so. I think he'll be suspended, and they said he wasn't supposed to have any fights coming up anyway. So
that's my thing.
It could end up being a ceremonial. Yeah, we suspended him. We're questioning this, and then just nothing.
Because Carson, ain't this like a side job type deal?
Probably.
So, whatever.
Yeah, I was. It was just. It kind of, like Sean said, it kind of took the air out of the night a little bit. But I think I love the fight so much, and I think the true fight fans, like Sean Zittel mentioned, we knew something like that could happen, and I think we just enjoyed that. I mean, 12 rounds. You want to show, like you said, a casual fan a fight to watch. Throw that on, and they will enjoy themselves.
I think you throw that on, and then you stop the tape after that last round, and you just go on about your business, and everybody's like,
pretend like there was no winner or loser.
No winner or loser in that one. Like, that was a bomb fight.
I wouldn't even have hated the draw either. I thought that at the time. I was like, I don't hate a draw. I think Chocolatito won somewhat comfortably, but
8-5 Chocolatito.
Yeah, 8-4.
Excuse me, 8-4.
Yeah, I thought he won comfortably, but again, I can't be mad at somebody that thinks that Estrada won a close fight. I can't, but that one, 117-111, you're embarrassing yourself for that in a big way.
Yeah, Chocolatito solidifies his legend again, man. I'd rather see him fight the Sorung V-Side fight now instead of a third fight with Estrada.
Do you think so? Because Sorung V-Side just seems to have his number. Yeah, it just seems like one of those things he just can't seem to beat him.
But I
don't want to see it.
I just mean that's all that's left. He already beat Estrada, who's a great fighter. If he could somehow turn the tables on Sorung V-Side. I mean, I thought he won the first fight. If he could make it that kind of fight again, then
I think a big frustration from some people that I saw is that he's not young, that he's not a guy that, this decision goes against him. Who cares? We'll still get him for another 7 years and we'll get to enjoy him. He's clearly towards the end of his career, still great, obviously, but the fact that he gets robbed in this decision, not robbed, but short end of this decision, and then there's not going to be that time for him to continue to stack his legacy up. It's kind of tough that way.
Yeah, he's on that you never know, every great fighter has one last great fight in him, so you never know if that was it.
And he wasted it. It was like in was it Big Daddy where they wasted the good surprise on him? It could have wasted his great performance. But and then moving on to your guy, SP, closing it out, the legend.
I was trying to get some other people to come on here with me and talk about this, but I couldn't get anybody, not who I wanted. So what I did was, obviously with everything going on yesterday, it was like I couldn't think about anything else. And I couldn't really focus on anything else. I kind of halfway watched the fights, kind of forced myself to watch the fights a little bit. And of course, spent a lot of time with my family just to kind of distract myself from it. I came up with 3 stories that I'm going to tell about Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Actually 4.
And that's his real name, too, to kick that off. The fact that that's his real name is unbelievable.
Which is why you guys the last story that I'm going to tell you guys, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I don't care. Anyway. So the first time I met Marvin Hagler was at a convention. And when I found out he was there, I was like, there's no way I'm not going to see him. There's no way I'm not going to, talk to him and say hello. And I mean, I tried my best not to look thirsty, but I followed him around the room. And because I understand my place in boxing, I looked at everybody else and I said, you guys have your opportunities now, because if I don't get it now, I'm sure I'll get it another time. And I followed them and I watched them. And one thing I learned from my dad says, you study people, learn who they are and what they're all about. And I just watched them move. I watched them shake hand after hand and smile and take pictures and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, this dude looks really cool. And I could not wait for my opportunity to meet him. I met him. And the only thing I could think of was tell this dude how special he is to you, And I did. I told him that he was a big reason why I boxed, which is why I'm wearing blue and dark blue and a light blue. This is what he wore in his fight against Tommy Hearns, which is really the fight that made me say he's my favorite fighter. Marvelous Marvin, when we met, I just broke it all down to him. I said, listen, you my favorite fighter of all time. And, I watched you and I just always kind of wanted to be you. And, I'm here now and I just want to tell you, thank you. And he said, oh no, I've heard of you. I know who you are. And it's nice to meet you too. And thank you for the kind words, all that kind of stuff. And we broke and that was it. And like, for me, one thing a lot of people don't know about me is I get very shy in certain situations. And so it took a lot for me to kind of like get out there and go see him. And then to even go even further to say all that to him and for him to be receptive of it. Like that was coined one of my favorite, or not favorite, but one of the best days of my life. I met him. This is my second story. Second time I meet him was out here again in Vegas. Another convention's going on, and at this point, I had already met him that one time. So I walked up to him. I said, hey, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, I'm Shawn Porter. Do you remember meeting me XYZ ago? And he says, oh, no, man, I know who you are. You're one of my favorite fighters. I'm like, I said, no way. You stop playing. He said, no, really, you're one of my favorite fighters. You and your dad, you guys are doing really good. At that point in time, he actually said, I like Andre Berto too. He said, and Keith Thurman. It's a couple of you guys out there that I really like. And if any young guys are watching this story right now, this is what I want to tell you guys, because at that moment, I never realized until that moment that when these greats who we have always admired and appreciated, once they're gone from the sport, they don't leave the sport. They still love it and they still want to watch it. So any young guys out there, any of your favorites right now, your job is to turn yourself into their favorites later. And that's exactly what I was able to do with Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And I couldn't believe it when he told me that. And I was like stuck in that spot when he said that. And I looked at my dad. Did you hear what he said? My dad said, no, I didn't hear it. He said, Marvin Hagler said, I'm one of his favorite fighters. I was stuttering all that. My dad said, really? I said, yeah. He said, that's pretty cool, ain't it? I said, I can't believe it. I was like, I can't believe it, but that's who he was to me. He just was that special. And when he told me that I was that special to him, or in sake of words, I was like, I couldn't believe I was blown away. So the third opportunity that I had to be around Marvelous Marvin Hagler was at Canastota at the Hall of Fame. My dad and I, they were inviting us to come there for years, and we had never went. And we finally decided that, hey, this is the summer. We got time. Let's go out there. Let's enjoy it and all that. I didn't know who was going to be there. I didn't know what it was all about and all that kind of stuff. And, just like a convention, all the greats are there. And come to find out, Marvelous Marvin Hagler is there every single year for like something crazy, like 20 or 30 years straight. Every single year. Has his own car that he leaves there every year, that he drives through the parade. He ran the 5K every single year with the people. He didn't run behind them. He didn't run in front of them. He ran with the people. When I got a chance to see him in the Hall of Fame, that was my opportunity to do what my dad always said, study and watch and listen and just pay attention. And I watched him and I said, wow. I chose this dude to be my favorite fighter when I was like 10 years old because he was exciting, because he was the shorter guy fighting Tommy Hearns, because he had muscles, and because he was a beast in the ring. I said, I chose him because of that. I said, I am who I am. I'm humble. I love everybody. I spend as much time as I can with everybody. That's me. I don't care. Other people are like, oh no, keep going. You don't have to spend that much time. No, I'm going to spend time because I want to. But to see him spend time with fans every single year after year after year in Canastota, not because he had to, but simply because he wanted to, I said, wow, I actually chose a guy who I tried to emulate, and to come to find out, we actually had the same type of mentality and the same type of personality when it comes to being approachable by fans and being approachable by just, the common person who normally wouldn't have an opportunity to see us. And when I got to see that, that's kind of like what put the stamp on it, that he would be like one of my favorite people ever. You know what I mean? And the last story that I'm going to tell you guys is that his real name is Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I did not know that until legendary. Last night. And they were talking about it last night. And you guys can text my dad, call my dad, hit him up on IG, anything like that. I told my dad on Wednesday, I said, Dad, I've been thinking about changing my name to Showtime Shawn Porter. And he looked at me, he said, what, really? I said, yeah. I said, I've been thinking about it for years. I said, but I just, I don't know whether or not I want to do it. But how that thought came up is every time I write a check and I go to write Shawn Porter, I always almost write Showtime, and then I have to redo some stuff and make it Shawn Porter. And some years ago, and I was like, you know what? If I just change my name to Showtime Shawn Porter, then it won't make a difference. And I'm watching TV last night, and I hear that his real name is Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and I'm like, there's just so many parallels between myself and this guy, a guy who did not have an easy career, a guy who stepped up and fought everybody when he had the opportunity to fight everybody, a guy who just simply wanted to be great and didn't want to be acknowledged as the greatest, but just wanted to be great. A guy who was going to go out there and give it everything he had every single fight, and fight with not only his intelligence and his skills, but also his heart. And that's who I am and what I do. And I mean, last night I was hurt hearing about Marvin. I was hurt. I know a lot of people like, why is he so hurt? I felt connected. I really felt connected. And when I think about my childhood, of saying that's gonna be my favorite fighter, just looking at his muscles and the way he fought and things like that, and then seeing him interact and saying, "Wow, I picked the dude to be my favorite fighter, and we got a lot in common." And then getting close enough to him to see like how we parallel, how the things are really similar between him and I. Last night kind of broke me up, y'all, and I was hurting. And y'all can see that I'm hurting right now, but you know, it'll be all right. And I'm praying for his family and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
The last thing I want to say, and then we'll get off here. Obviously, y'all have a chance to speak or whatever, but I am going to get into documenting fighters. I think that's something that really hasn't been done. I know we've seen movies, but we haven't seen like the code in the thick of it all. And I feel like I have what it takes to do that. So I wanted to do that. And that's the one that I won't be able to get to do, unfortunately. But I loved him, man. He was just different. And to me, people always ask who I think the greatest fighter of all time is. Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
And you mentioned hurting, and I think his greatness was that it wasn't just the boxing fans that were hurting. I think it was sports fans and just people. You saw people all over social media that were like, man, when you think of fights, I think of Hagler and Hearns. Like it, I know I saw Browns fans. I saw Myles Garrett posted about, Marvin Hagler. It was just the whole sports community specifically was just like, man, that was, you talk about what boxing is and what boxing should be. It was that dude. Like he was that dude. Everything you wanted. Like fight the best, check. Yeah. Power, speed, check. Like good dude, like you said, outside the ring, check. Yeah. Like he just, I think the best quote, I can't think who posted it, but he said the difference between street fighting and boxing is that there's a ref to stop me from killing you. It's one of the most ruthless quotes I've ever heard. But definitely thoughts with his family and a big loss for the boxing community, the sports community, the world, just in general overall.
Yeah. You guys got anything else? We good?
We're good, man.
Oh no,
go ahead, John.
Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
Go ahead.
It's funny you mentioned that quote, Carson, because he had a lot of great quotes. It's hard to wake up and run in silk pajamas in 5 a.m. once you're wearing silk pajamas, and his war hat. That would. Yeah. I remember being on a lot of the hardcore boxing fans on internet forums back in the day. Whoever your fighter was, you War De La Hoya, War Trent on their fight week. Once their fight came up, you would say War and insert, the fighter here. Yeah. So it's, for being the hard-nosed, no-nonsense guy he was, he definitely had personality at the same time because he has all these great quotes that we can remember.
Yeah.
So he wasn't just this bald-headed brute, he had a lot. But I just want to say a few things and I'll go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Hagler Hearns.
Go ahead. Do it.
Ali Frazier, Ali Foreman, Thrilla in Manila, Rumble in the Jungle. But right after that, Hagler Hearns might be the number one fight you heard about when you first fell in love with boxing. Mm-hmm. And he's probably goes down as one of the top 10, if not 10, maybe 15, 10 to 15 most famous fighters that ever lived.
Yeah.
And everyone loves to go up and down divisions, but he made it. He brought honor to dominating the division below heavyweight, and staying in one division and dominating the division. He had 11 of his 12 title defenses were by knockout. Sorry, I'm looking at some notes that I made for you.
No, you do you.
Yeah.
You talked about like yourself, you had to fight the best and not always as the A side. Mm-hmm. And he really carved out a great path for guys like Bernard Hopkins is my favorite fighter. And I feel like he's so similar to what Marvin Hagler was in spirit. Mm-hmm. And even to Terrence Crawford, like with the switching styles and the meanness, he created this path that if you're not the biggest, most sensational talker, or if you're not the gold medalist, or if you're not the fighter with the television network deal, you could still become great and you could still become famous in the sport and be in huge super fights. So, he showed that. And then also just in the X's and O's talking about how he fought, everyone's seen Hagler Hearns, but I really urge boxing fans to watch the fight with John Mugabe right after to see that beautiful piston jab he had. And he could counterpunch, he could move and box and move his head. He wasn't just some slugger, because everyone's seen Hagler Hearns, so we think of him as this come forward slugger, eat one to take one, but he could really box too. And there's a reason why Sugar Ray Leonard admitted that he waited him out a couple years before he finally got in the ring with Marvelous Marvin. So it makes sense that he would be close with you, Shawn, and like you, because I think you keep that lineage going that connects us to the yesteryears of boxing. But I just wanted to get out a lot of praise for Marvelous Marvin, on his day. He's one of the few celebrity deaths that when I heard about it, I blocked it out. It was like, I don't even want to.
Me too.
I don't even want to think about it right now.
Yeah,
because it hurts because of what it meant to boxing.
Yeah,
so,
me too. Listen, that is the Porterway podcast. Did you have something else, Carson?
No. I mean, we have a couple quick fan questions if you want to really rock through them.
All right, let's do it real quick. Yeah, let's cut the music. Do it real quick.
Yeah, cut the music. So first one is there's actually one for me, which is nice. So
here we go.
They gave me a soccer one. They want me to run through it. So Barcelona or Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United over Liverpool. We'll go Rangers over Celtic, Chivas over America, Inter Milan over AC Milan, Bayern over Dortmund, PSG over Marseille, and Boca over River Plate. But
bet the house on it.
Yeah, those were, I think. That was Palomar Hurtado. Those were, right? I think they were asking my favorites between those two. So
I thought we were making bets.
No.
And then
no. You don't know what you're talking about.
So the one fan question for SP was, when you bring other fighters on the show and give them a chance to kind of to speak, give everyone to know them, do you feel that you're getting something out of those interviews as far as learning or growth? And that is from KG on YouTube.
Ask KG's question one more time, please.
So when you have guests on the show, other fighters or other guys, do you feel you're getting something in terms of learning from them or growth from them speaking from yourself?
Absolutely. All of them, especially for me, I get to see how somebody else thinks and kind of, I connect the dots between what you're saying in terms of what shows up in the performances that you have. One in specific is Calvin Ford. We had him on here, and there is a segment that I do on NBC SN for Ring City that it's actually came from Calvin Ford. So shout out to Calvin Ford. We were talking about the fight with Leo Santa Cruz and Tank, and I believe it was you, Carson, who asked the question, did you expect him to do anything different? Calvin Ford said, well, no, we knew his DNA was to fight. And we knew that at some point we were going to get him to fight us, and that will be where we would take him out.
I think that was Ant, for all fairness, but go ahead.
Okay.
I don't want the credit. Give it to Ant. Go ahead.
At any rate, when I heard DNA, like a light bulb comes up over my head. And so like we're talking, we do the whole thing. And that DNA, like that stuck with me because I had never heard it that way. I got it quick, but I never heard it that way. So it stuck with me. And then so producers with NBC come to me and say, hey, we're thinking about doing something cool, something different. What do you got for us? Can you think of some things? And I mean, like immediately, they said, give us a call back. I said, I'm going to call you. I got the perfect thing, So what we do is we offer the DNA of both fighters and what you can expect out of that fight, out of the main event. So that's just something that I took from one of the interviews, just as an example. But I listen to everybody, man, and I'm always trying to learn.
Yeah, we've had a lot of different guests, a lot of different perspectives, which I think whether you can learn from it, I know Ant and I both have come away from interviews like, damn, I learned a hell of a lot from some of those guys. So I think it's nice for the fans as well as us to learn from these guests we've had. But
can I start the music now?
Fire that music up.
Yeah, Sean, you got to start the music. But hey, man, the best way you can honor Marvelous is keep being Sean Porter, man.
Yeah. And for all fighters, following his footsteps, fight the best.
Nah.
Fight the best.
Sean really just want to fight the best. I mean,
well, I'm saying other fighters should do that.
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford, fight the best, challenge yourself, and do your thing.
Hey, person behind the camera, we wrapping up. Mind your damn business. Okay.
Don't tell me you didn't enjoy what you saw, because I know you did. What you need to do now hit that subscribe button, hit the like, hit that notification button. Check us out every week, every Tuesday, something new for you right here on the Porter Way Podcast.